Ashley Howard with Ashley Howard Teaches, and we are doing tutor planning for CC Cycle 2, Week 6, 5th edition. I'm so glad you stopped by today. We are going to have so much fun together. Don't forget to stick around to the very end because I will be going over our art project and I will be going over review games. So don't forget to stick around to the very end. If you're new here, would you hit that subscribe button and that like button so that you don't miss a thing with homeschooling, with curriculum reviews, with tutor planning. I am so glad you stopped by. If you're getting value out of this video, will you hit that like button? It helps this channel so much and I couldn't be doing this without all of you out there. So thank you so much. All right, let's get started. So if you are new here, I have a free digital download that you can get for absolutely free. It's for skip counting. Here's our 11s. It goes all the way through our skip counting numbers. So this is super fun to use in your class. I always like to start with this. That way we're pointing to the numbers and going along, and then we'll close that and go to our fun activities. So that's how I start my 11s. Then what I like to do after we've gone through our number card, I like to kind of sing it slowly with them without the music going. So what we'll do is we'll have our blocks and each child gets a block, and as we're singing the 11s together, they'll get to put a block on. So I'll go through and one person will put a block on as they say their number, then they'll go to the next one and they'll put it on. It's a way to kind of slow them down on singing so everyone has a chance to participate. And then what I like to do is write on the board. So we'll write our 11s and we'll go through, and as we're going through all of the 11s, I'll erase one at a time. Or I might give them the eraser and one student gets to come up and erase one, and then we'll go through and we'll skip count with all of them on the board except for one. And then we'll go through and erase another one, and we'll kind of go all the way through until at the very end we're singing them without them on the board anymore. So I also like to show them the pattern with the 11s. This isn't all of them, just some of them. But as you can see, it goes 1, 2, 3. So I like to show them that there's kind of an order here, and these are really easy ones for them to memorize. So that is another fun way we do that. Now moving on to 12s. So for 12s, I get back out those handy number cards that are free to you down below, and we go through our 12s that way. Afterwards, have them find a partner, and then they'll just roll a ball back and forth to their partner while they're sitting down, and we'll do our 12s that way. We'll play the music, go through it a couple times, and that will finish our math for this week. All right, so now let's move on to science. So for science this week, we are talking about how animals adapt. So for adapt, we're going to make an A like this. Then for migrate, we're going to run in a circle for migrate. And then for hibernate, I'm going to say, okay, find a place to hide. And they're going to run somewhere in the room and hibernate and hide. So I like to kind of explain those terms just a little bit to them so they kind of know what they mean as well. And it's also animal pictures of animals that do these different things and hide them around the room. So you can either get pictures of animals or figures of animals, and you hide them around the room, and then each student gets to go find an animal. So it may be several different animals, and maybe one person finds a bear, and we pull it out and we talk about, oh, this one can hibernate. And so we can pull out different things like that. It's really good to do your research beforehand so you kind of know which animals do what. You might pull out a butterfly figure, and the butterfly migrates, so we can talk about that as well. It's just another fun way, as we say our science, for them to pick those out and talk about different ways that animals adapt. So that's kind of a fun hands-on way. Let's move on to Latin. So for Latin this week, we are doing first conjugation endings, future tense. So like we talked about last week, we're gonna get our bow and arrow and shoot our bow into the future because this is the future tense. So we get bow like this, and then we'll start singing them. For this one, I like to get a piece of painter's tape out, and I'll make a long strip, and as we say them, they jump forward and backwards over this strip. And then what we can do is, okay, now we have to do it on one foot. Pick your right foot, and they hop over it on their right foot. Then they hop over on their left foot, and then they'll jump super high, and then we might jump really low, and then we might do something like whisper, and then say them really loud. So that kind of fills up our time for Latin. So let's move on to our history hand motions. All right, so for history, we are talking about the Renaissance. So as we know, the Renaissance was a great period of rebirth of classical literature, of art, of science. So what we're going to do is for Renaissance, we're going to go like this, like it's birthing out like this, so Renaissance. And then for 50, we're going to go 50, and for 1600, we're going to go like this because we're 16 when you have to drive a car. So go like this, and And then for Leonardo, we're gonna make a giant L. And then for inventor, we're going to pretend like we're hammering something like this. And then for Shakespeare, we're going to do like this, like we're shaking a hand. And then for playwright, we're going to bow like this. Or you might curtsy if you're a girl. And then for Michelangelo, we're gonna make a big M like this. And for artists, we're going to draw or paint or however we like to do art. And then for Copernicus, we're gonna make a giant C like this. And then for scientists, we're gonna get out our telescope and go like this. So those are our hand motions this week. All right, so that's our history for this week. Let's move on to English. English, we're doing possessive pronouns. So I like to go like this, possessive pronouns, like we're trying to grab something that we really like. So possessive pronouns, and we'll do hand motions for this. So we'll go for mine, we'll go like this and point to ourselves. For yours, we're going to point like this. For his, her, its, we're going to point his, her, its. For ours, we're going to go like this and go like this and point back to ourselves. So we'll go ours. And then for yours, we're going to point out like that. And then for theirs, we're going to go like this, like we're pointing at lots of different people out there. So those are our hand motions. So we're going to go with something like this. So we're going to say, I don't know what I've been told. Possessive pronouns are good to know. Mine, yours, his, her, its. Ours, yours, theirs, and that's the end. So we'll kind of sing it like that. That's a fun way to kind of do it. So as we get faster, we'll keep marching. We can march around the room as we say it, and we'll march faster and keep saying these words for our possessive pronouns. So that's kind of a fun way to keep them busy, keep them moving, and keep them learning that. I also like to afterwards, we'll kind of sit down and kind of calm down, and we can pass a ball and say them as we pass a ball around in a circle. So it's kind of a good way to get them back focused and calm down a little bit. All right, so we're moving on to geography now. So for geography this week, I like to bring out those mini M&Ms because those are tiny enough to fit on those little mountains. And I like to go through them with that, and they'll put their little M&Ms as we go along. I also let them trace the little mountains. It's very easy. They can go through and dot. I also like to have them come up, and they get to be the teacher and help point to them as we go along. So if you have a little more time to do geography, you can have each student or just pick a couple students to come out and help you point to them as you go. I also have a little pointer finger that I love to use, and they can get up there and they can point with the pointer finger as we go along. And any supplies that I use, I will link down in the description below. I have a great laminator, printer, all sorts of stuff that we like to use for homeschooling. So you can check that out in the links below. There's also links to videos that you might like just for history or science or Spanish. I do all sorts of homeschool reviews, so if that's something that's interesting you, you'll find that below. So let's move on to our final week of art. So for Fine Arts, we are doing a review week of all the skills that we've amassed so far. So it's really a fun week because it just opens you up to so many different possibilities. So what I like to do is I start by going through the oils. We put it on the board. We'll talk about what each one is. Just kind of do a short review because they've already heard it so many times. So we'll go through and talk about each one of those. And I like to bring an example from each week. And I have them raise their hand or call out, what did we do for this week? So that's why it's good to save those different art things so they can go through and you can talk about, oh yeah, do you remember? When we talked about perspective, how we had the horizon line and the vanishing point. So it's fun to do those different things to help them recall that information. So if you have those available, that's a great way to show them those different examples. So after we've gone through our oils, what I like to do is I have a number of projects printed out for them, and we go through each one and we talk about what was done in each one, what kind of drawing it was. So like for this one, you can see this is art project for kids. It's kind of hard to see right here, but they have step-by-steps. Now you can print these out. I couldn't get my printer to connect to this device. So you can print these out and they're great. They have all sorts of step-by-step drawings called art projects for kids. They have perspective drawings, they have animal drawings, they have all sorts of drawings that would relate to these different types of art, and it's so fun for them to do. So after we've kind of done that as a class, we've gone through our oils and we've gone through the different types of art that we studied, this past 6 weeks, I let them use the last 15 minutes to pick a project of their own to complete. So it's really fun for them. We play the classical music. I'll show you kind of some papers that I've used. So some of them are from art projects from kids, and some are other ones that I found. I will look for the links for you, and find any ones that I find, I will link in the description below. All right, so here's one that's kind of fun. So we have the Statue of Liberty. We're talking about oil. We can talk about perspective and how the Statue of Liberty is so big and takes up so much space. And the clouds are smaller because they're farther away, far behind her. All right, so we can do a scarecrow drawing. It's kind of fun because it's getting towards fall, and this is a fun one where we can talk about oils. So this one is great for talking about symmetry and completing those symmetry exercises. And then lastly, we can talk about our upside down drawings and make fun ones like that. So what's great is you can send them home. What I like to do is send them home with 5 or 6 different projects in a folder so they can pick the ones to do in class, but then at home they have something to work on where we've talked about all these different aspects of art, and now they can work on them at home too if they want to, just for fun. Of course, so that's how I like to do fine arts. All right, let's move on to review. All right, so for review this week, I like to play Banana Blast. Now, I will link this in the description below, but this is a super easy, super fun game for the kids. So what they do is they insert a review question, and then they get to pull a banana. So they'll pull one, and then they see if the monkey pops up. Now, everyone kind of gathers in a circle around the monkey, because if the monkey pops up, the person who catches the monkey will win. So they have a lot of fun with that. It comes with a little dice, so they get to pick out a different number of bananas each time. So it has the number on here, so you can see that, or it might be you get to take a banana from somebody. Really cute, easy game, easy to assemble, easy to bring with. So this is a fun one for review. So I hope you enjoyed that review game. So I will leave that link below. Anything that I've talked about in this video, my laminator, my printer, anything will be linked in the description below for you to find. Please consider subscribing. I love to see new subscribers, for you to join our homeschooling community. Let me know if there's anything I can be praying for you. Man, we just love Jesus with all of our heart around here. So I just want to help you in any way possible. Thank you for sticking around to the very end. I will see you next time. Goodbye.